Single dad CEO discovers amazing love at party. His daughter's touching request will change everything. Michael stood at the edge of the lavish ballroom, a refreshing drink in hand, surrounded by laughter and clinking glasses. He was the quintessential success story, a tech startup CEO in the heart of Chicago's thriving suburb, dressed impeccably in a tailored suit that hinted at his ambitious drive. But behind the facade lay a heart weighed down by grief and a relentless quest for balance. He had promised himself to carve out a better life for his daughter, Lily, but tonight, he felt the hollow echo of his own presence as a single dad in the midst of the city's elite. "Let's make this happen, Michael," a fellow entrepreneur pushed, raising his glass, yet all Michael could think about was the mischievous grin of his 10-year-old daughter who was waiting at home. Lily was his world, an endless spark of energy and laughter, and every late-night conference call chipped away a little piece of their time together. As he glanced around, the glitz felt heavy, suffocating even, as he imagined how much more they could be sharing at home. Just then, he felt a tug at his sleeve and turned to see her, Lily, dressed in her favorite blue party dress, the one with the sequin flowers. She looked up, and his heart sank as her brown eyes shimmered with tears. "Daddy," she whispered, her voice trembling, "why do you work so much? Why can't you come home earlier?" The question struck him like a punch to the gut. Here he was mingling with success, but at what price? The heaviness of guilt bore down on him, and he suddenly felt suffocated in the crowd. Before he could respond, an unexpected warmth settled next to him. Sarah, a passionate community organizer who had caught wind of his about-to-unravel emotions. Her calm demeanor was the antidote to his rising panic, and they found solace in discussing the truth behind facing societal pressure. "You're doing your best," she said softly. "But remember, your daughter will only be this age once." As their conversation grew, it felt as if time stopped. They bonded over shared struggles, how exhausting it was to uphold a facade of perfection while balancing ambition with authenticity. The tension in Michael's chest eased slightly, realizing he wasn't alone in navigating the minefield of parental sacrifice. Before they could explore this connection deeper, a well-known mogul strolled by, his judgmental expression cutting like glass. "Prove you can lead a company with a kid," he scoffed, watching Michael's face turn crimson. Those words lingered, igniting a fierce determination within him. Did this man not see that success wasn't a standalone concept? Couldn't he be both a devoted father and a thriving CEO? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the evening advanced, inspiration flooded Michael's mind, swirling with the potential of bridging his tech startup with local initiatives to enhance community connections. This was his chance not just to climb the corporate ladder but to do so while lifting others. But just as that possibility brightened his thoughts, he felt the weight of his daughter's earlier words entwined with the mogul's challenge, creating a convoluted mess of ambition and parental needs. Would he have to choose? Could he mend this rift, or would the day end without an answer, leaving Michael wading through the chaos of a future he desperately wished to shape? The stakes had never been higher, and the journey ahead promised to unravel both his greatest fears and his greatest hopes. Michael left the ballroom with Sarah's encouraging words echoing in his mind. The evening air was crisp against his skin, contrasting sharply with the stifling atmosphere he had just escaped. He leaned against the cool stone of the building, taking in deep breaths, hoping to clear his mind. The weight of being a single dad was like carrying a backpack that had grown heavier over the years, filled with guilt, loneliness, and aspirations that seemed to push together in his heart. That he closed his eyes, imagining Lily's joyful laughter, the way her face lit up when she spotted him after a long day. "Why do you work so much?" The question replayed in his head, sharper now, demanding an answer. Every business deal struck, every late-night email had come at the price of missed moments, school plays, soccer games, bedtime stories. The thought twisted his stomach in knots. Michael? A voice snapped him back to reality. It was Sarah, stepping out into the night, a tentative smile on her face. You okay? Yeah, just thinking. He ran a hand through his hair, frustration bubbling to the surface. I want to give Lily everything, but what if it's just not enough? She stepped closer, her presence comforting. You already give her everything she needs. Your love is what matters. Your time will come. She reached out and touched his arm, a light gesture but heavy with empathy. I hope you're right, he said, unable to hide the tremor in his voice. The vulnerability surprised him, speaking openly about his fears felt foreign but liberating all at once. They stood together in silence for a moment, looking up at the stars dotting the clear skies. Each twinkled like a reminder of the dreams both had held. Michael thought of the venture community, the social media eyes watching every move. His life had become a complex web of expectations and fears, each thread tightly woven around him. Sometimes, I wonder if I'm meant to be this guy, the successful CEO, he confessed, letting out a weary sigh. But then I think of my daughter and, it feels like a battle between who I think I should be and who I want to be. You don't have to fit into anyone else's mold. Just be you. Sarah's voice held a warmth that seemed to chase away the chill creeping into his chest. And if you ever need to talk about balancing everything, I'm here. An unexpected surge of gratitude washed over him. In that moment, Michael realized how rare it was to find someone who understood the struggle of this duality. He smiled faintly, a flicker of hope igniting. Thanks, Sarah. That means a lot. Just then, a cluster of partygoers spilled out of the ballroom, their raucous laughter cutting through the night air like a knife. In the commotion, Michael caught sight of the mogul from earlier. The man's gaze was dismissive, filled with calculated judgment. Something shifted inside him. He turned to Sarah, determination sharpening his features. I won't play their game anymore. I'm going to make changes at my company, real ones, starting with a focus on community impact. It's time to prove that success doesn't have to come at the expense of family. Sarah's expression brightened, and for a moment, he could see her admiration. That's the spirit. It's about values, not just numbers. But as enthusiasm coursed through him, a new worry crept in. What about the stability of his business? Would people understand his vision? Or would they see it as a sign of weakness? As he stepped back into the ballroom, the cacophony of voices and laughter felt less overwhelming. He could chart a new course. But the questions remained. Would he be able to rally his team behind this vision? Could he do this while being the father Lily needed? The night stretched ahead of him, filled with uncertainty. But as he scanned the crowd, Michael knew one thing for certain: he would embrace the challenge ahead, determined to change his world for Lily. As he approached a small group of executives deep in discussion about the latest tech trends, a familiar voice cut through the noise, pulling his focus away. Hey Michael. I need your thoughts on something. The conversation was instantly engaging, but as he replied, his thoughts drifted back to his daughter. The journey was just beginning, and he could feel the weight of everything ahead, the hope and the fears, all mixing into one singular path toward a future where love and ambition could meet. But could he make it happen? As self-doubt crept back in, he took a deep breath, his heart pounding. How would he face the next step? Michael felt the buzz of the conversation pulling him in two directions. On one hand, he had the executives discussing projections and profits, eager for his input on a new tech initiative. But on the other, his mind wandered to the small things, the way Lily would pull at his sleeve, asking if they could have pizza night just one more time, or how her little hands would grip his as they walked through the park. The contrast was striking and sobering. Michael? One of the executives snapped. The urgency in the voice jarred him back to the present. What's your take on this? He forced a smile, shaking off the thoughts of home. Right, sorry. I think embracing innovative tech is crucial, he said, regaining his footing. But we also need to consider how it affects the community we serve. Our impact on families matters more than numbers on a page. There was a pause, a collective shift in energy as the group absorbed his words. A few nodded, but some looked puzzled, as though they couldn't quite grasp the connection he was drawing. The tension hung in the air, crisp and charged. "Michael, this isn't about saving the world," one older executive finally said, impatience bleeding through his voice. "This is about maximizing our ROI. Let us stay focused." The weight of those words pressed against Michael's chest. But instead of retreating, an unexplainable fire ignited within him. Doesn't every decent business leader want to make a difference? I refuse to believe we can't do both. For Lily's future, I won't settle for a one-dimensional approach. The room was filled with murmurs, the shift in atmosphere palpable. A few attendees exchanged incredulous glances, while others seemed intrigued. Sarah, standing slightly behind in the group, looked at him with respect twinkling in her eyes, buoying his courage. As discussions began to shift again, a sudden thought snagged his focus. Would his team even support these sentiments, or would they see him as a liability? He glanced around the room, trying to gauge the reactions of others. Some were already returning to their business talk, seemingly uninterested in his perspective. But then he locked eyes with Sarah once more. There was a silent connection, an unspoken understanding. She believed in him. Before he could get lost in the chaos of numbers again, he excused himself, needing air, needing clarity. Making his way to the balcony, the cool breeze enveloped him, a momentary reprieve from the weight of expectations. Out on the balcony, he could see the sparkling lights of the city, each glimmer reminding him of Lily. He could almost feel her small hand in his, laughing at something silly he said earlier. Suddenly, his phone buzzed in his pocket. It was a video call from Lily. Heart racing, he answered. The connection flickered, but her excited face came through bright and clear. "Daddy!" She squealed, her happiness washing over him like sunlight breaking through clouds. "Hey, pumpkin. What's up?" he asked, failing to disguise the warmth creeping into his voice. "Remember our pizza night?" She twirled around her room, her energy infectious. "Can we do it tomorrow? Please." His heart swelled. There it was, the reminder that his world was all about balancing these moments of joy against the backdrop of responsibility. "Of course. Pizza tomorrow it is," he said, committing to the small yet vital promise that meant everything to both of them, but as they ended the call, a knot of anxiety clutched at him. Could he really mix his ambitions as a CEO with being the father Lily needed? Stepping back inside, he took a deep breath, still feeling the warmth of their conversation. There were big challenges ahead, but now, they felt a little more manageable. As he rejoined the executives, there was renewed vigor in his resolve. "Guys, I know this is unconventional," he began, raising his voice above the chatter, "but I think it's time we redefine success at our company. What if we lead with our hearts? What if we made decisions based on how they impact our families and communities?" He felt a ripple through the crowd. Some looked intrigued, others puzzled. Yet he continued, carrying the fire ignited by his daughter. As the words spilled out, Michael could sense the room beginning to vibrate with a mix of skepticism and hope. He had taken the first uncertain steps on a new path, but he could feel it in his bones that the journey was just beginning. What would be the fallout from his bold suggestions? And could he maintain balance without losing himself in the process? The weight of the world seemed lighter as he stood there, ready to embrace whatever came next. The real question loomed ahead: could he truly forge a new definition of success without leaving his past behind? Michael stood in the boardroom, feeling the simmering energy of the room shift like a tide. He scanned the faces before him, trying to gauge their reactions. A mix of surprise, curiosity, and skepticism echoed back at him. It felt like standing on the edge of a cliff, daring to leap toward an uncertain future. Sarah crossed her arms and nodded slightly, a silent encouragement that added to his resolve. "We can align our objectives with the values that really matter," he pressed, his voice strong. "Think about how much our clients value community. There is a market for compassion. Compassion doesn't pay dividends, came a low mutter from the back, the man's brow furrowing in disdain. But Michael wasn't deterred. Maybe it doesn't pay in the immediate term, but what if it builds loyalty for years to come? It isn't just about the quarterly report. It's about creating a legacy, something that my daughter and all our children can look up to. His heart raced, fueled by his conviction. It was a gamble, but one that felt right. The executives exchanged glances. Michael could almost hear the gears of their minds turning, weighing his words against years of hardened business practice. Then, unexpectedly, a hand shot up. "Let us say we humor this idea," a new voice, a middle-aged woman with thick glasses, interjected. "What exactly do you envision?" Michael took a step forward, emboldened. "What if we launch an initiative focused on local small businesses? Use our technology to empower them. It shows our commitment to families and community. We wouldn't just be selling products, we'd be nurturing relationships." Murmurs rippled through the room once more, some intrigued, others still skeptical. He could see a few of his colleagues warming up to the idea, their brows relaxing a fraction. "What's the first step?" Sarah asked, eyes shining with connection. He paused, allowing himself a moment to appreciate that tether of support. "I think we could start with a community event, maybe a fair. We bring in local artisans and small businesses. They get exposure, and we show we care." There was a stillness within that room, a collective holding of breath as they considered this new angle. Finally, the older executive who had scoffed at him before broke the silence. "You're proposing a charity event in our strategy meeting? Does that even fit into our branding?" Michael felt a flutter of doubt creep in. What if he had pushed too far? "Think about the PR. It's a win-win," Michael urged, trying to keep his voice steady. "If we make it a recurring event tied to our brand, we not only help others but also build trust and affection from our client base. It could change the narrative." Slowly, nods began to emerge from around the room. "I'll support this," Sarah stated firmly. "Let us start drafting a plan. If this succeeds, it could really set us apart." The older man remained tight-lipped, but the others were leaning in now. The conversation felt alive. Michael took a breath, the weight on his shoulders lifting slightly. "Just keep in mind, this won't just be a marketing utensil. We have to truly care." That thought echoed in his mind. The future of his team and Lily depended on the very soul of this endeavor. As the meeting moved forward, he began to feel a flicker of hope blossom, a feeling he hadn't dared to imagine hours earlier. Could they really make this work? But he knew it wouldn't be easy. The road ahead had potential pitfalls. He could lose his job, lose their trust. His thoughts drifted back to Lily and her infectious laughter. Could he really thread two worlds together? The next morning, as the first light of dawn peeked through, he sat at his kitchen table, the weight of his ambitions settling again. But today felt different. He had opened a door. Just then, his phone buzzed, interrupting his thoughts. It was Lily, her sweet voice giggling as she asked, "Can we make our pizza night a pizza party with friends?" He laughed, realizing he knew exactly where his heart lay. "Absolutely. We can have both." But as he hung up, he couldn't shake the unease creeping back. What if embracing this journey meant facing parts of himself he hadn't even begun to explore? Was he ready to welcome change? With a deep breath, he gathered himself. One step at a time, he whispered to the morning light. As lunch approached, he found himself heading toward the conference room again, a new fire in his belly. The team would have their doubts, but he was done letting fear define his steps. Could he lead them toward a new vision without losing the spark of his personal journey? Would they support him when the stakes grew higher? The answers loomed, heavy but necessary. Michael walked back into the conference room, the air buzzing with renewed energy. Today felt different. The chatter that filled the room was an unexpected melody, a few familiar faces nodding, some even smiling. There was a shift, a flicker of belief starting to take hold among those who had once scoffed at his idea. Taking a deep breath, he faced the table once more. "I appreciate everyone's willingness to consider this," he began, his voice steady. "Today, I want to outline our initial steps to make this community event a reality. We need to harness that energy we felt in the last meeting." Sarah chimed in, excitement evident in her voice. "And we can leverage our social media to build momentum. Imagine the local businesses sharing their stories, inviting the community to join." Her words hung like a sweet scent in the freshly opened room. Michael could see the wheels turning, ideas bubbling to the surface. It felt like nourishing dry soil with fresh rain, a chance to grow something beautiful together. John, the skeptical executive from before, raised an eyebrow. "Okay, but how will this draw in potential clients if they're just locals?" His arms were crossed defensively, but Michael recognized a willingness to listen. "It's about more than just drawing clients," Michael replied, a warmth in his chest blooming with each word. "It's about establishing relationships. Today's local event could lead to tomorrow's testimonials and partnerships. If we invest in their stories now, they'll remember us when they need our services." "It's risky," John shot back, still unconvinced. "But intriguing." A soft laugh escaped from Sarah, and she leaned back, her eyes dancing with ideas. "Let's do a little research. We can look into any existing similar events, see what worked and what didn't." As the discussion unfolded, Michael felt fingers of hope brushing against his heart. The strategy flowed from one person to another, ideas colliding and morphing into excitement. That's when he glimpsed the moment he had longed for: collaboration. A shared vision was blossoming like wildflowers breaking through cracks in concrete. After a round of brainstorming, they landed on a date. It felt tangible, the kind of goal that made him want to drive straight into the horizon of it. "Let's aim for the end of next month. If we start planning now, we can pull off a successful event." But in the back of his thoughts, a whisper of doubt lingered. Could they really pull it off? Could they bring this vision to life without falling apart at the seams? The day passed like a whirlwind, but as he drove home, Michael's mind churned with anticipation. He thought of Lily's laughter, her infectious spirit, and how much she thrived in the community setting he envisioned. Pulling into the driveway, he noticed the little paper signs poking through the flower beds. "Pizza party tonight," they proclaimed. He smiled at her enthusiasm, that little piece of joy that had guided his decisions. As the night unfolded and they tossed dough for their pizza party, Lily buzzed like a bee around their home, inviting friends, laughter filling the space like warm light. "Dad, can we make extra pizzas for the kids next door? They're new." Her eyes sparkled with eagerness. The simple request hit Michael hard, his heart swelling. She was living the very values he was trying to instill at work: community, connection, and compassion. "That's a great idea, sweetie." The thought filled him with warmth, but the joy in his heart was tinged with resistance. What if they turned him down? What if he failed? "Dad," she chimed in, her innocent voice cutting through his haze. "Can we give them a pizza and a little note? Like a welcome gift?" The simplicity of her request was profound. A small gesture, yet full of soul. He realized this was where he found the heart of the matter. It wasn't just about marketing strategies, it was about nurturing connections, just like he'd done in the kitchen. As the kids gathered around the table, flour dusting their noses and giggles sparking between them, Michael understood that this was the blend of personal and professional he craved. Every slice served became a reminder that he was piecing together a legacy. As night deepened, he stared out his window at the group playing in the yard. Could he forge this connection into something lasting for both his family and his company? Could love lead him to a big breakthrough? Just then, his phone buzzed with a notification. It was a message from Sarah about the event planning. He picked it up, heart racing. He felt the weight of impending change buzz beneath his skin. Would this journey forge something beautiful, or would it leave him heartbroken in the end? The night lay ahead, bright with promise, but uncertainty still danced in the shadows. With resolve hardening in his heart, he whispered to himself, "The next step is up to me. What awaited him in that pivotal moment? Michael couldn't shake off the fluttering anticipation in his chest as he read Sarah's message, her excitement spilling through the screen. She had shared a list of local businesses willing to participate in the community event. This is it, he thought, his heart racing with renewed hope. He felt a surge of purpose as he pieced together their vision, a tapestry woven with the threads of community spirit, partnership, and laughter. As the pizza party waned, he gathered the kids around for a quick meeting. "Team," he said, eyes sparkling, "how about we make a giant sign to welcome our new neighbors? Something colorful, cheerful, like your dad's amazing pizzas." The kids erupted into giggles. "Yeah. And we can draw pictures," Lily shouted, her enthusiasm infectious. With the sprinkling of flowers still lingering in the air, they grabbed markers and large cardboard. A vibrant chorus of colors soon danced across the board, while the smell of cheese and dough wafted through the kitchen. Every stroke, every laugh, felt like another step towards the community event, connecting everything he held dear, but deep down, Michael questioned whether he had what it took to keep both family and ambition thriving. The weight of responsibility pressed against him. Could he balance his family while steering this project toward success? The next morning, among puffs of cereal and school bus anticipation, his mind never strayed far from the event. What if it doesn't go as planned? The thought gnawed at him. But then he looked at Lily, her enthusiasm lighting up the room, and he felt warmth trickle through the doubts. "Dad?" Her tiny voice broke his thoughts. "Are we still doing the pizza thing with our neighbors?" "Yes, sweetie," he replied, determined to seize the momentum, no matter the fears lurking in the corners of his mind. Later that day, he met Sarah and John at a coffee shop, the air heavy with possibility and the scent of freshly brewed coffee. They flipped through a binder of plans, brainstorming logistics, vendors, and marketing strategies. "What if we feature a local talent show?" Sarah suggested, her eyes brightening. "Kids from the neighborhood can showcase their skills. It'll bring everyone together." "A talent show?" John mused, leaning back in his chair. "That could work. It's a way to draw in families." Michael grinned, the vision expanding before him, growing like the vibrant sign the kids had created. Then, something shifted within him. "We should invite local influencers too. Those who can expand our reach and bring more awareness." John nodded slowly, considering it, his skepticism visibly easing. "All right, let us brainstorm a list." As they sketched ideas and crafted strategies, Michael felt optimism pouring into his heart, providing the fuel he needed to push past the uncertainties. By the end of the meeting, energy crackled in the air, vibrating with the possibilities ahead. As he drove home, he realized he hadn't felt this connected in a long time. The wheels of community outreach were turning, and it seemed that, for all his fears, he wouldn't be doing this alone. Back home, the sound of children's laughter sang through the open window, reminding him of the evening's pizza party. But in the stillness, a nagging thought persisted. His vision had sparked cooperation, but what if the event flopped? What if failure fractured their newfound camaraderie? That night, as he tucked Lily into bed, he paused, looking into her curious eyes, so full of faith. "What if we fail?" he murmured, mostly to himself. "Then we try again," she replied, her confidence unwavering. "Always." He chuckled, lost in the light of her innocence. Her simple wisdom reverberated in his heart, providing a beacon of hope amidst the chaos. "Good night, sweet girl," he whispered, brushing a stray hair behind her ear. As he stepped out, the moon hung low, casting shadows that felt insistent, as if they were reminding him of their looming challenges. Filled with resolve, he whispered to himself, "I'm doing this for her. Nothing can stand in our way." Little did he know, an unexpected twist awaited him just around the corner. Would the event unite the community, or would his darkest fears come to life? Michael awoke to a new day, sunlight streaming through the curtains, bringing warmth and a sense of hope. It was the day he would begin to bring their vision to life. He felt a tightness in his chest, excitement mixed with apprehension. But as soon as he looked over at Lily, still snug in her blankets, he decided to push through the anxiety. The morning rush was filled with energy. He watched as Lily bounded around the house, her joy palpable. "I can't wait for the pizza party," she squealed. Her eagerness made his doubts feel lighter. If this was important to her, it must be worth fighting for. As he loaded the car with supplies, giant sheets of cardboard, a stack of markers, and endless rolls of colorful crepe paper, he couldn't help but smile. The image of their giant sign welcoming neighbors was already taking shape in his mind, just like the warmth of the community he hoped to create. At the community center, Michael met up with Sarah and John. The buzz of voices and laughter filled the space. Other volunteers were arriving, moms with strollers, dads helping with setups, teenagers offering their talents. Each face was painted with the same enthusiasm that had ignited earlier that week. "Let us get to work." Sarah clapped her hands together, rallying everyone. They all spread out across the large room, brainstorming ideas, measuring space for event setups, and painting vibrant posters that would capture the hopeful spirit of the day. As he painted, Michael could feel a transformation within himself. Each brushstroke was cathartic, a release of his lingering fears. The colors they created seemed to brighten not only the cardboard but also the corners of his heart. Being a part of something so dynamic felt invigorating and grounding at the same time. "Michael!" A cheerful voice broke through his concentration. It was one of the local business owners he'd reached out to. "I heard from Sarah you're gathering everyone for the first time. What can I do to help?" The sight of community members rallying behind the event made Michael's heart swell. "We're setting up for a talent show and a welcome party," he explained. "Maybe you can set up a booth. Share some samples or giveaways." "Absolutely. I'll bring my famous coffee blends. Everyone loves a good cup." The business owner grinned, and as he walked away, Michael felt the web of connections grow stronger, binding everyone together. As the day wore on, the signs, banners, and decorations took shape, reflecting the unique character and personalities of the neighbors involved. But in the middle of the joyful buzz, doubt still flickered in the back of Michael's mind. What if, standing in the midst of this creativity and teamwork, they still fell short? When Lily arrived after school, she beamed at the flurry of activity. "Dad! Look at all the color!" she exclaimed. "I know, right? It's amazing," he responded, trying to match her enthusiasm. She tugged at his hand, pulling him aside. "What if we made the sign say welcome home instead of welcome neighbors?" He paused, her words reaching deeper than he expected. "That's brilliant, Lily. It's not just about welcoming them, it's about building a home here." Lily nodded in agreement. "Exactly. Home feels special, like all of us together." With renewed inspiration, Michael spent the next hour bringing her idea to life. As the sun set, they stood back, admiring their creation. The words "Welcome Home" shone brightly in the golden light, capturing everything they had hoped for. Surrounded by families working side by side, he felt the intense pulse of community. As they pack up tools and supplies, Michael looked around, his heart swelling with gratitude. "This is just the beginning," he whispered to himself, but just as he thought they were on the right path, Sarah approached with urgency. "Michael, we need to talk," she said. The worry creased her brow, and Michael's stomach dropped. There is something that came up regarding the talent show. What was it that could threaten everything they had worked for? The vibrant atmosphere suddenly became heavy, casting shadows on their plans. Would his dreams of community unravel before they even began? Michael's pulse quickened at Sarah's serious tone. A knot formed tight in his stomach. "What's wrong?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady. "It's the venue," Sarah said, her eyes darting toward the other volunteers who were still busy enjoying the preparations. "I just found out that there's a scheduling conflict. They double-booked the community center. We might not have a place to hold the talent show tomorrow." The words landed like a lead weight. Michael felt his heart sink. All the energy, all the enthusiasm, all for what? Is there any way to fix it? He pressed, though a cold wave of dread washed over him. What if all their plans fell apart? I'm working on it, Sarah replied, though her tone didn't seem overly optimistic. But we might need to find a new location fast. Suddenly, it felt like everything they worked toward, every painted sign and every vibrant idea, hung precariously in the balance. Michael looked around the room, at the faces of the families pouring their hearts into this effort. We can't let them down, he whispered under his breath. He took a deep breath and turned to Sarah, determination creeping back into his voice. Let's start making calls. Maybe someone has a backyard, or we can check with the church down the street. Sarah nodded, visibly grateful for his resolve. I'll put out feelers. Let's see what we can do. With a renewed sense of purpose, Michael moved through the crowd, encouraging volunteers and keeping spirits high. We've got to make this happen, everyone. We're building something special, and we won't let a hiccup stop us. Lily watched from a distance, her eyes wide as she absorbed the tension in the air. Dad? She approached, her voice soft. What's wrong? He knelt to her level, mustering a smile to alleviate her worry. Just a little bump in the road, sweet pea. But we're working on it. We'll figure it out. She frowned slightly, seemingly unconvinced. What if it doesn't work out? All our friends are coming. It's gonna be amazing. He pulled her close, wrapping his arms around her small frame while the world rushed around them. Whatever happens, we're still going to celebrate. Together. You and me. The reassurance felt good, but in the back of his mind, uncertainty loomed. The minutes passed like hours as he helped Sarah make calls, but the news didn't improve. Every venue was either booked or too small. Michael's stomach flip-flopped, worry gnawing at him. Just as fatigue settled in, his phone buzzed with a notification. He glanced at the screen, an incoming message from an unexpected source, his neighbor, Jesse. Hey. Saw your posts about the talent show. We have a big backyard, and I'd love to help. Let's chat. A spark of hope ignited in Michael's heart. Jessie. He called, waving her over. As she approached, he realized he hadn't looked closely at her before. She had a reassuring smile that cut through the chaos, someone who could lift spirits with just a word. Do you really mean it? He asked, half expecting the offer to slip away. Of course. Have you seen our space? Plenty of room for a party and a stage. Jessie responded with enthusiasm. Michael felt a mixture of relief and excitement bubble up inside him. You'd really let us use it? Absolutely. I believe in what you're doing for the neighborhood, she said, her sincerity evident. Let's make this happen. The fear that had shadowed his earlier days seemed to dissolve, replaced by further determination. Thank you. This could change everything. As they exchanged plans, Michael felt a spark of connection with Jessie. It was more than just gratitude, it was a shared desire to help create something extraordinary. Could this be the start of something bigger in his life? Lily tugged at his shirt, her eyes brightening. Can I help with the backyard setup? It'll be fun. Absolutely, kiddo. We need your creativity, he laughed, watching her excitement flare back to life. As they all took steps to pile up supplies again, Michael felt the familiar pulse of community return. Together, they began to reshape the gathering, ready to infuse their new location. With the same love and spirit, yet, even as he prepped, a question lingered: what would it feel like to truly open his heart to someone like Jessie? The day's journey had introduced more than just the promise of community, it hinted at potential relationships that could redefine him, and as the plan solidified, Michael couldn't shake the feeling that this gathering might not just be a new start for their community but perhaps, also for him. What kind of love and connection awaited him on this path? The sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the neighborhood. Michael felt the soothing balm of twilight on his skin as he stood in Jessie's spacious backyard. It was perfect. The space was vast, filled with trees that swayed gently in the evening breeze, and an old gazebo that seemed to whisper stories of past gatherings. "We've got less than 24 hours. Jessie announced, her voice ringing with excitement. "What do you think? A stage here?" She pointed toward the center of the yard. Michael nodded, visualizing the talent that would soon fill this space. "Yes. We'll set up the string lights overhead, just like we planned. It'll feel magical." Lily clapped her hands, her joy infectious. "And I can decorate the gazebo. Please. I can make it look super colorful." "Perfect idea." Michael beamed. "You're our creative genius." As they mapped out the layout, Jessie kept brushing against him, laughter spilling out of her like music. Every accidental touch sent a rush of warmth through him. He couldn't ignore the fluttering in his chest, something new, something exciting tinged with fear. But there was more to this than just an electrifying moment. Jessie had stepped in when everything teetered on the edge of chaos. "I seriously can't thank you enough," he said, shooting her a genuine smile. "You're saving us." Jessie shrugged, her cheeks slightly pink. "It's what neighbors do, right? Besides, I want to see this happen as much as anyone else." With each roll of the fabric and carefully placed prop, Michael found himself stealing glances at Jessie. There was a warmth in her laughter that lit up the dimming sky, something that made him feel lighter, more hopeful. He could hear Lily's giggles echoing as she arranged flowers, blending colors like a little artist painting on a canvas. The rhythmic sounds of preparation enveloped him, a comforting hum against the backdrop of their previous worries. Just when he thought the tension from the day had lifted, Lily rushed over, pulling on his sleeve with wide eyes. "Dad, can we get a photo? Like, all of us together?" she pleaded, bouncing on her toes. Michael smiled, touched by her enthusiasm. "Of course." He turned to Jessie, whose surprised expression told him she hadn't expected to be included in this moment. "Jessie, come over. We can squish in." Lily waved her arm, beckoning her with unrelenting excitement. "All right." Jessie laughed, joining them in front of the gazebo. She crouched down slightly to match Lily's height, and they both beamed at the camera. As Michael snapped the photo, he realized just how happy they all looked. "It's perfect!" Lily exclaimed, her joy buoying the atmosphere. Michael pocketed his phone, the image of them together a snapshot of laughter and connection making his heart swell. He felt an unexplainable bond with Jessie, one that seemed to grow deeper with every shared moment. But an unsettling question loomed. Would this fleeting connection stand the test of time? They worked late into the evening, the world around them fading into the background while they found laughter among tasks. But that shadow of uncertainty flickered at the edges of his mind, whispering reasons to hold back. After setting up the last of the decorations, they arranged the chairs and linens for the next day. The yard started to transform into something special, a testament to their hard work. "It's coming together, isn't it?" Jessie said softly as she surveyed the scene. "Definitely," Michael responded, taking a moment to admire the view. But then, the warmth of her smile faltered slightly, and he sensed that she held something back. "Do you think this will actually go as planned?" she asked, a bit of worry creeping into her voice. The vulnerability in her question resonated with him, and another layer of connection bloomed. "I believe in this community, in us. We're going to make it happen." As they stood there, uncertainty rippling beneath their newfound friendship, Michael couldn't help but wonder what next steps awaited him. Would he risk more than just this event? With Jessie by his side, could he genuinely open his heart? And just as the stars began to twinkle above, casting a shimmering blanket over their small world, he wondered, was he ready to embrace not just the community, but the love that might blossom amid the chaos? The sun rose brightly the next day, casting a golden hue over the bustling backyard filled with laughter and excitement. The community event was finally here. Michael stood amidst the energy, watching as families gathered, each face painted with hope and anticipation. He felt a mix of exhilaration and urgency pulsing through him as he glanced around. Lily was bouncing with excitement, a flurry of color surrounding her as she decorated the gazebo. "Look, Dad! It's like a rainbow!" she exclaimed, her little hands pointing at the colorful streamers fluttering in the breeze. He smiled, the warmth of her joy melting away any lingering fears. This was what it was all about: the community, the connection, and the shared experiences that would forever resonate in their hearts. But even amidst the celebration, a nervous electricity crackled in the air. What would happen if the turnout wasn't what they hoped? As the guests filtered in, Michael felt a sense of camaraderie grow among the people. Families set aside their differences and gathered with open hearts, celebrating community over competition. Jesse moved among them, greeting everyone with a smile that lit up even the darkest corners of doubt swirling in his mind. "Hey, Michael!" Sarah called, joining him with an armful of flyers. "The talent show sign-ups are booming. I can hardly keep track." Her enthusiasm was contagious, lifting Michael's spirits even higher. "Really? That's fantastic," he replied, feeling the tide of positivity surge around him. Together, they admired the growing crowd, hearing laughter echo through the yard. It was truly happening. As the event unfolded, someone approached the makeshift stage, an excited young girl, nervously clutching a microphone. "I'd like to sing," she declared, her small voice rising above the chatter, brimming with bravado. Michael's heart swelled as he felt a mixture of pride and fulfillment. Courage had drawn everyone in, this moment was theirs to cherish. As she began to sing, her voice wobbled but filled the space with sweetness and vulnerability, touching the heart of every listener. Behind him, he heard Lily squeal with delight. "Dad, look!" She tugged on his sleeve, pointing at the impromptu performance taking shape. "This is amazing." "Yes, it is," he whispered with a full heart, glancing at Jesse who stood nearby, equally entranced. Their eyes met, and something unspoken passed between them. In that moment, he recognized the possibility of something more than friendship blooming in the backdrop of shared laughter. As the talent show continued, more kids took the stage, a boy sharing his magic tricks, a girl dancing with joy, each stepping into the spotlight with excitement. The crowd erupted in cheers and applause, a warm embrace of community spirit fostering love and encouragement. When the performance reached its peak, Michael took a moment to step back, absorbing it all. A wave of emotion washed over him, realizing he was experiencing a rare convergence of professional aspiration and personal fulfillment. This day was bigger than any of his tech endeavors. It was about family, togetherness, and creating lasting bonds. But as night approached and the stars started to twinkle overhead, a familiar voice pierced through the merriment. A local news crew had arrived to capture the excitement. Michael's heart raced. Would they see the spirit of the day, or would this be another chance to nitpick his ambition? As he stepped in front of the camera, holding Lily's hand, he felt a weight lift. "We're here to celebrate our community," he began, his voice steady and strong, illuminated by the soft glow of string lights overhead. "Today, we've found that family is not defined merely by blood, but by the connections we nurture within our neighborhoods." The reporter nodded, captivated. "What inspired you to bring everyone together?" "Every child deserves to feel seen, every neighbor deserves to be celebrated," he said, glancing at Jessie who stood among the crowd, her heartlight reflecting in her smile. "This is about creating a home, a welcoming space where shared joy binds us all together." The crowd cheered, and Michael felt a surge of exhilaration. Moments later, as the event wound down and families mingled under the soft glow of lanterns, Lily clambered up to him, bursting with energy. "Can we do it again next year?" There was a bittersweet tug at his heart. "I think we can make it even bigger, Pumpkin," he said, wrapping an arm around her shoulder. "Every year, let us remind our community that love and connections matter more than anything." Just as he spoke, Jessie emerged, standing beside them. "You truly set the tone for this event, Michael. It was beautiful." He met her gaze for a moment longer, the myriad of possibilities stretching before him. Thank you for jumping in when we needed you. It turned out beyond what I could have hoped. As the evening unfolded, Michael realized something profound. Not only had they built a day filled with connection, but they had also begun weaving a new fabric of relationship, one that felt promising, vibrant, and cohesive. As laughter faded into the night and families packed up supplies, he could only think of one thing: he was ready to embrace both his professional ambitions and the personal connections waiting just beyond. With every challenge they faced, he felt the stitch of solidarity deepen, ready to face whatever uncertainties lay ahead with a full heart. In that moment, surrounded by love, laughter, and the twinkling lights of celebration, Michael finally understood that the real success wasn't just climbing the corporate ladder, it was fostering a life rich with community and connection, hand in hand with the daughter who had inspired him to pursue it all. And so, with renewed hope as the sparkling night drew near, he noted in his heart it was time to let love lead the way. Now, as you've journeyed with Michael through all these ups and downs, don't let this moment pass. You need to subscribe now to catch more heartwarming stories like this one. This is the moment to show your support, so leave a like now to help feed the algorithm and share your thoughts below. Comment on how you felt about this ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let's grow this community together.